Welcome, everyone. You have found yourself at the It's All Good show, and another just stellar guest on my show this week. Chiraya Dharma. We met back in 2010 in an elevator at the Hilton Hotel at the Conscious Life Expo, and we have done events together. We have, some amazing experiences over the last 15 years. My goodness, I'm like doing the math. All right, I'm good here. Um, she is, she was amazing when I first met her, and she's only expanded that energetic in my mind over the years. You know someone for 15 years and you have contact with them quite a bit over that time. It wasn't like we met 15 years ago and then she just pops up again now. I've had continued contact with her, and I just can't give a higher rating seal of approval than I can for this wonderful person. I would just want to thank you for being on the It's All Good show. It seems so natural for us to be here talking like this.
It absolutely does. And I'm thrilled as well, and thrilled that we've kept this connection and we've had so many adventures together, and they're only continue spiraling upward and expanding. So it's just fantastic. Thank you for having me on the show.
And you are a being of so many talents, and I mean, you've done session work on me, you've assisted me in so many aspects of my life. Give us a little bit. I mean, like you have so much. I'm like, give us just a little bit of your background to lay the foundation for what we're going to experience and learn from you today.
Sure. Thank you so much. So we're going to be delving in more to the energy clearing and interdimensional life side of things today. And before I tell you a little bit about my experiences with that, I'll just briefly say that I went to film school, learned how to do graphic design in college. Laptops were just coming out. Apple was just coming out with, digital editing. That was me back in the 80s, learning that, still working on the computer all the time with all kinds of graphics and design and media, and helping people with, their own projects and events and things like that, and brand development. But that's one part of the container, and it led into event production, where you and I had many events together that we've done as well. And so I've done all of that sort of outer media production part of life. And simultaneously, and even earlier, starting at a very young age, I was talking to God, having downloads, doing energy clearing on my health, myself, realizing that I needed to do the work because everything was so screwy, like in my life, my family. It was like, I was like, oh my God, I'm 60. And I'm like, I got to do something. So I created this process called writing it out, where I was doing energy clearing on myself. And at 7, I noticed I was doing energy clearing. I remembered, of course, I didn't know to call it that then. And then also my clairvoyant and psychic abilities have just increased over the years. I've taken probably 20 different types of energy trainings, from soul clearing to forensic healing to Reiki to healing touch to theta healing and more. Plus, ever since I can remember, just getting direct downloads from my guides, and I understood what that was more as I got older, but literally working directly with the inner planes, soul, self, guides, God, source, love, whatever you want to call that. And always tuning into the highest of only those beings, and only those beings, and only those beings that are the highest, most benevolent, wonderful desire to help humanity uplift ourselves, raise our vibration, keep ourselves on track for what we call this awakening process that we're in, this grand awakening, and just being in service to that to the best I can. And part of that, of course, being dropped into the earth plane, is as advanced as we may be in the other planes, we're dealing with human body, human vessel, ancestral lineage, past lives, this cultural conditioning, and our early childhood imprint. So ain't none of us got nothing to clear here.
But that's all we're dealing with.
I think so. Throw in parallel lives, you might, add a little interest, but usually those four are enough for anybody to wrap their head around.
So you've got, I mean, you talk about energy clearing,
Yeah.
and I guess the big thing is, how do we really know when our energy clearing is working? And so, because there's a lot of people out there and they call it different things and this and that. And I know that I've gone through some experiences where I've thought that I've cleared something, and then sometime later something comes up and I'm like, whoa, wait a sec. No, excuse me. I cleared that. And obviously I didn't, or not deep enough, or something like that. So how do we know, and take us into this?
That's great way to frame this conversation that we're going to have tonight. So energy clearing, energy healing, um, all could be said in many different words. So it's important not to get too hung up on the semantics and just to feel into what we're talking about. We're talking about moving old electrical imprints and somatic imprints and subconscious imprints out of our nervous system so that they're no longer running us. The neural pathways in the brain are related to what we call the samskaras in the Vedic traditions. And it's basically your synapses firing over a certain set of thought forms. And the more we fire those particular thought forms over time, it becomes like a river getting deeper and deeper and deeper and more ingrained into the nervous system. And so you say, I already cleared this, it's like, well, that was a deep river because it got imprinted for gosh knows how long, right? Thousands of years. When we're talking about our ancestral lineage, hundreds of thousands. And if you understand the larger cosmic picture, probably some people would say millions of years or even billions of years of humanity having this adventure in this time space reality and then dropping back into a body with a nervous system. When you're out there in spirit, you don't have to worry about it so much. But when you're down here with the nervous system, you bring back everything with you, and that's called karma and some scaric residue, the junk in the trunk, as I like to say it too. And so that material that gets stuffed into, some people call it the chakras, it gets stuffed into the nervous system, it gets stuffed into the electrical system, the cells, the body, the limbs, the mind, the body, the spirit. And we hold on to it as long as we keep running those thought forms, because this is a thought-based reality, and thought generates feeling, or feeling generates thought. It can kind of go, it's like if you think something, it's going to cause a feeling. If you feel something, it could cause a certain set of thoughts because it's a vibrational match, right? So when we weren't necessarily designed to have all these upsetting things happen to us. Because when we ended up in this sort of distorted time space matrix that we're in now, where there's all the good, bad, and otherwise going on, the duality matrix, we're still operating with this same system that runs on thought and feeling. And so those thoughts and feelings accumulate in the body, mind, spirit complex, and we tend to gravitate towards those thoughts we've already thunk, whether they were desirable or not. And sometimes we innocently happened upon them because we were born in a family that had, let's say, alcoholism or some kind of habit of thought and emotional abusiveness that made us contract or made us angry or made us hide from life or made us, whatever it is that happened. Usually those early childhood imprints are similar to some of the things we experienced in our past lives and are similar to some of the things we experienced in our ancestral lineage. So you've got ancestral lineage, which is all of our parents, and their tendencies of thought, feeling, and action, which ended up in our family, our nucleus. And then you've got past lives, which is our own more individuated soul experiences, which accumulated to also show up in this life. And so usually our childhood atmosphere is related, similar, kind of a vibrational match to those other things. So they say everything's here, even if you don't believe in those other two things, right? So, and then you've got your culture imprinting you with a certain kind of thinking. It could be a scarcity thinking, it could be a worry thinking, any of the types of things. Like just think about what your culture imprints you with. Competition, jealousy, all that kind of stuff, which has nothing to do with our oneness. And as we awaken, we start realizing our oneness again. But we don't have to clear our oneness. Our oneness is what pre-exists all this junk in the trunk. And so our job in our awakening is to rectify that, to overcome that, transcend it, transform it, transmute it, recalibrate ourselves back to the realization of the truth, which we are all one and we are all love. We're always perfect, never have been anything else, absolutely in love with each other forever. And, all this stuff is kind of an illusion, but albeit a very convincing illusion. Is a very convincing reality matrix.
Now, let me ask something. You know,
Sure.
the languaging and everything that you're using, this is common languaging for us, and for a segment of the population. For another
Yes.
segment of the population, this isn't, they're not thinking past lives. They're not thinking,
Right.
all this, but they are having less than comfortable experiences. So
Right.
for those people where all the languaging has sort of been like, like, oh man, wait a sec, this is a bit woohoo. Um, the baseline for them of like, well, what energy needs to be cleared would be the less than comfortable aspects of their day-to-day existence. Is that like
Yeah.
bringing it down to
Also,
the lowest common denominator, as it were?
yeah, the lowest common denominator would be like how we were affected by our childhood energies, because when we're little, we're in delta brainwave state till we're like 7. And that means we're soaking everything up like a sponge innocently. And then also our experiences as we're growing up and our experiences being part of this culture. So you don't have to worry about the rest of the stuff. It's
And
there anyway.
everyone can relate to that you
Yeah,
just said. It's
right.
like our everyone's parents gave them enough stuff to work on for their whole life.
Exactly. Thank you, parents. We're so grateful for the
I,
challenge that has been bestowed upon us. Of course, they had that challenge bestowed on them, and the baton got passed. And so, hey, and that kind of brings us forward to, and I'll try to talk in layman's terms, so to speak, as much as I can, but please do again correct me if I go too woo-woo with the wording.
oh no, I love it because it's this is my world. But I was just thinking for a sec. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you know, like I said earlier, my clairvoyant abilities increased as time went on. And then I started becoming more aware that I was clairvoyant. And so all of humanity, this is a natural capacity for us to feel, sense, and know things around us. And this is part of what's going to track back to this ability to tell if we're doing energy clearing, if it's working. And it's also just setting the container for the fact that if we're one, then that means we really already are communicating with each other all the time. We already are intrinsically part of this fabric called humanity and the world and nature and everything else, here and everywhere, right? Because there's only one. If there's only one, then there's only one. It just comes back to sheer logic at the end of the day. But it's sort of mind-boggling logic. It's like, how could we possibly be one? Where here's you and here's me. No, but the here's you and here's me is what got us in this mess in the first place. Because when there's an other, a perceived other, that's when fear can crop up, and that's where worry and concern, or the idea of jealousy or competition or losing something, could come in. If we always knew we were all one, it wouldn't matter. It'd be like, oh, look over there, somebody's having all that. That's great. I love that part of me having that. But if we think we're separate from them, then we might be like, they're taking something from me. So the drama unfolds.
Right.
And that's, maybe that's why we're here. Who knows? Like, we can get into that in another conversation.
Next podcast.
Right. So the field of benevolence of the highest and best good of the most high is what we want to tap into first anytime we're doing energy clearing. So different people would have different ways to say that. Like we pray or we contact God or we feel love or we tune in with nature and we get really grounded. Like these are all really very important things to set the stage for being able to tap in and feel if we're getting a signal when we're doing energy clearing. So just to set the stage, we're also going to do a little energy clearing here today. And so we'll walk through this process briefly as long as you want. And then but I'm just kind of laying the foundation for why this is important and how this is all connecting. So take a deep breath with me. And let's just settle our nervous systems, knowing that all this information is going to sort itself out and land in our being in the way it's meant to. And if we take a breath and then let the out breath be a little longer than the in breath, that'll help us calm down and get quicker into our right brain. Because being in the right brain, being in a relaxed state, being in a more open, comfortable, loving state will also help us be able to notice if our energy clearing is working. If we're in fight or flight, or what they call the beta brain, or if we're really stressed out or anxious, it's harder to notice those things then. So this trick with the out breath being slightly longer than the in breath is good anytime there's any stress. It takes 3 seconds, to do. If we notice ourselves being nervous during the day or having a little hiccup here or there, we can just quietly take a breath and let the out breath be a little longer. And then that settles us down a little bit. So we're ready to do the clearing work. And you're familiar with the word somatics. I imagine most people are, but somatics is basically the idea that, the sensing and feeling in our body, sensations. And so the sensations that we're working with to detect if we're getting a clearing or not are the sense of smell, sight, touch, sensation. Visually, it can show up as colors. Physically, it can show up as burps or farts. It can show up as a twitch. Any kind of movement in the system that's spontaneous could be a signal that it could be like the God bumps or your hair standing on end. It could be feeling of energy running into one part of the body or another. It could be a feeling of density, like how dense is it? Is it really hard and pointy and sharp like a knife, or is it dull? Like sometimes it's even could be show up as pain. And sometimes it could show up as exhilaration. Sometimes it could show up as heat. Sometimes it could show up as cold. So once we get into the energy clearing, there's this whole panoply of possibility of how your body, mind, spirit complex is going to show you that the energy is moving. And there's not any right or wrong for anyone about this. It's like, what is happening for you? And some people, I don't want to say I don't want to say that the B word, block. Some people feel like they're blocked from noticing these things, but it may just be they're not used to interpreting what they've already been feeling all along.
Okay.
So everyone should be very patient with themselves as they go into this experience, and you'll notice what you notice. And then if you feel like you're not noticing enough things, then you can ask your higher self to please give me a signal and please make it noticeable to me. Because again, this is a communication with us, the human being, and our higher self, God, our guides, whatever words we use to describe how we these individuated souls are being helped to awaken to that higher knowledge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Now, let me just ask, because I thought about it. Um, So people that like muscle test or use a pendulum, would that play into this, or really just tap into what's going on immediately in their bodies or in their feeling?
Typically, so for example, the first thing I majorly learned was soul clearing, and we used a pendulum to determine what needs to be cleared. And that's a whole kind of art and science in and of itself. And also muscle testing, which I believe you had somebody recently on your show who
Yeah,
was teaching
last
muscle
week.
testing. Muscle testing can also be useful because, and we're going to talk about that today too. It's, but there's also other ways you can just ask. And some people, if you ask your guides a question, maybe you'll see the answer, or you'll feel the answer, or you'll sense the answer, or you'll know. So any of these information data getting tools are great and can greatly support our energy clearing. And energy clearing is basically making a command for something to happen. So it's really energy clearing and manifesting are very related. It's all the same thing. You're saying, I noticed this samskara, this guilt, this fear, this grudge, whatever it is in my system. It's like, okay, I'm being honest with myself. And I really just thought that thing that I didn't feel very good about thinking. That leads me to believe I might have a belief or an old energy or some grudge in my system, and I don't want to carry that anymore because that's dense, heavy weight. We cannot take that baggage with us. So we don't need to judge ourselves, blame ourselves, or make ourselves feel wrong or dump more shame on top of ourselves for having that. We just have the opportunity to let it go if we want to. But sometimes we're really attached to it, or we believe in it strongly, or we identify with it. And so it sometimes it takes a little doing to massage it into releasability. But basically, energy clearing is asking for something to be done in your system. And the law of life is ask and you shall receive. So we ask, we command, we say, do this, and then we should get a signal. And that's the very basic, most template of how to say energy clearing, which basically means anybody can do it for themselves at any time. And then in
Anybody
addition,
can do this, no matter. I mean, this is awesome.
yeah, anybody can do this for themselves at any time and should. And if we're stuck, or if we don't quite understand, or if we want more experience, we can go to any numerous traditions and teachers and modalities will all do this in a unique way. So then it's like, which flavor do you like? Do you need more help setting a context and having a tradition that will help you do it more methodically and in a more disciplined way, so that you can get traction? Or are you very independent and you can just sit here and figure it out and you're quick and you're just going to do it, or somewhere in between? But pick your flavor. Like, we shouldn't get too confused. Like, we could probably list off 100 modalities between us right now for how to do these things. But the basic, we're talking very basic today. We're gonna decide on what we're clearing. We're going to make a command for it to clear, and then we're going to see if we get a signal to see if it's clearing.
Great.
So this can be done on the fly, or like, let's say you're in a situation where somebody, like at work, for example, and somebody really irritates you, and you notice you have an electrical charge, an emotional charge in your system. So this is all about electricity. We're electromagnetic beings, and the electricity is, our energy system, our meridians, the Thai call it sen lines, the acupressure points, the nervous system. It's all about energy flowing. So when there, as we know, like with Chinese medicine and things like that, if there's a block somewhere, energy is not going to flow, and then that creates disease. So all of these things are about opening up the energy flow. And some of these old charges and beliefs could come from a trauma. And then when we experience trauma, it's like fight, flight, or freeze. If we freeze, then that emotion and that thought form and that energy could get frozen in there with us. So sometimes the energy clearing is going to end up melting that freeze so that you can get to the stuff deeper underneath. But as we go with this learning, we basically come to know this, palette of tools available to us, and this palette of sensations, so we can sort of navigate to what's going on. But it's okay. We don't have to understand it intellectually as much as feel it. Like the mind can get very involved in trying to figure things out. And to a certain degree, we have to have our bearings, but we don't have to let the mind go too crazy. We really want to get in our body and feel what's happening. Does that all make sense?
Yes, it
Has
really does.
congruency? Okay, cool. And well, and in terms of the energy clearing that we're going to do today, I detected 11 grudges still remaining in my system last week. And so, of course, as usual, I detected that. So now I'm going to get to work on it. And so a grudge is like it's like a, or like, oh, or like a chip on her shoulder, or like, it's something that's annoying. How would you describe a grudge?
I mean, yeah, I want to know how you identified you had 11 grudges.
That's a great question. So the process of living life and going through our day, and with this energy, this heightened energy that's coming in on the planet, I'm going to say we, because I think it's generally true. I mean, maybe some people more and some people less, but we are generally becoming more aware of what's going on inside here as time goes on. And so let's just say we had this huge pile of mess that we karma, or whatever you want to call it, energetics that needed to be cleared, that we walked in with into this body. And then over time, we cleared a lot of that. Now we're down to a layer of some very old remaining things. We're at the dregs, right? We're at the dregs for humanity as a whole, for ourselves. Each individual might be more purified than others, right? Like when you're equanimous, you're like a Buddha or somebody, like he cleared all his baggage. He didn't have any. So he's not reacting anymore. He just looks out at the world and sees, there's a part of myself running around over there. There's another part. Look at what they're doing. It's like,
I mean, you
okay.
said 11 grudges, and I'm like, wow, you're really pure because I feel like I must have so many more than 11 grudges. So I'm like, wow. I mean,
Well, it's 11 grudges that were up for clearing at the moment that I was aware of.
right.
So those 11 grudges, I noticed, I basically going along in my week, I noticed an edge on my shoulder, a chip on my shoulder, or I noticed like I react to somebody and I'm like, I have something other than pure peace and unconditional love when I think about that interaction. Now that, then I'm like, I have a grudge about this. And so then I asked, well, how many grudges do I have that need to be cleared right now? And I tuned in, and I think I did muscle testing, and I got 11 grudges. And then I even wrote it down somewhere, kind of what they were, but I don't know if I can find it right now, because I've been working on clearing these and it's been working. So that's good. But it's like, how do we get this electrical negative charge out of our emotional body, mental body, spiritual body, physical body, so that we're not running around annoyed all the time, right? Unconsciously annoyed, usually. We're not usually like aware. We could be annoyed all day and not even notice it. It's like when we notice it, finally we're like, oh my God, that situation really annoyed me. And if we can start saying that situation annoyed me, I felt annoyed in that situation, and start detaching it from the person, like rather than that person pissed me off or whatever, instead of like, we might need to project it on the person, and the person's out there doing what they're doing. But the fact is, whatever they did hit our nervous system and affected us, and we weren't equanimous about it. So the only thing we can really do anything about, and the primary thing we can do, is to clear that charge, because then we can be any use to anybody else out in the world if we're not annoyed, right?
So I know you stay away from social media, and that's kind of a cool thing. That in my experience is where I find the most,
Annoyance.
I was going to say people, but let's just switch situations that annoy me. Now, is each one of those a different grudge, or is like some of the, it's like maybe five of those were related to one grudge, or
Yeah. So we start following a theme. And that's part of what I did when I started detecting these grudges. Is like, oh, there's a theme here. And the themes, when that's a really great habit to have, is to notice, like if you get a little journal and jot down like throughout the day, annoyed at this person because this, and do that for one day diligently, and then you'll probably start seeing a pattern. It's like, and I realize the pattern when people are just unconsciously rude and mean, that I have a grudge about that. So
So it could be
I
a number of people that show up that way, situations that
yeah,
show up that way, but it's really just boiled down to one grudge. One,
that one grudge. Yeah. Like maybe that's because my dad treated me that way, that kind of thing. And there's still this edge in my system that it's not pure. It's not pure yet. I still react. I still don't see the situation from a broad, clear perspective. I see it from a reactive perspective. So this person is doing whatever they're doing that reminded me of that, but I project my material onto it and I think it's them. It's not them. They're doing them. They're being them out in the oneness. They're doing their thing from their conditioning. I'm over here seeing that and feeling grudgeful about it and feeling, like there's, somebody, it's sort of like this, how dare they, kind of
and
thing. Or
are we attracting that? Like, is
yeah,
it because that's our grudge and
yeah,
that's something that is there and holding on to, we're attracting those situations where we
it's
get
a
to
matching
experience that?
charge. It's a matching electrical charge. So that's why when we say with the energy clear, we're collapsing the charge and coming back to the 0 point.
Okay.
You got a plus over here and a minus over here of the same vibration. They're gonna find each other, like attracts like. Even though it's a plus and a minus, it's a similar energetic, right? So somebody who's used to being mean and somebody who's really pissed off about people who are mean to them likely to find each other, more likely to find each other. So
Okay.
that's why we keep cycling in negative relationship dynamics and being like, what the heck? Like, seriously, no, this is not what I wanted to attract to my life. It's mad. It can be maddening until we understand the physics of it and we start getting control of it. We can start actually doing our part in handling it and not blame the world. It's like, sure, is the world doing what it's doing? Yeah, it is. It's not like you deny what others are doing out there. They are. They're on their own trip with their own conditioning. This is where, Jesus said, forgive them, they know not what they do. They literally were ignorant of our effect on others. We're ignorant of higher spiritual truth. We're ignorant of the law of one. We're ignorant of what I do affects another. And so when we act, we're not fully aware of that. And then there's a repercussion over here. But are we supposed to get all messed up in our head about that? Or we be like, hey, look, they're just being them. I need to handle me. And then, that can take a lot of different ways and means to do that, because sometimes if somebody's being them in a way that's going to hurt you, you need to get out of there. And that's discernment and that's correct action, and other times it's like, I'm married to this person and I just get irritated every time they do this. Well, let's work on that. That's
Now,
probably part of it.
as we clear these grudges, so
Yeah.
as I clear my 1100 grudges or whatever I came up with, then all of a sudden are we attracting, as opposed to situations that create annoyance for us, we're attracting situations that create whatever the opposite of annoyance, like joy, comfort.
Right. The opposite of annoyance is kind of like being irritated. So the opposite of annoyance might be calm, right? Or relaxed or poise
Because
or
I have days where my interactions are just like I have to stop and say, what the H is going on today? And then I have other days where it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And I'm just looking, I'm just like, I just am so blessed to be able to have a day like this. And so
Yeah. Well, how we wake up in the morning and how we go to bed the night before has a lot to do with that, along with the sort of collective consciousness going on that day. It's sort of like I sometimes notice that when I set my day correctly with intentionality, communing with God, love, source, whatever you call the all that is, setting up my day for success. And even before bed, setting up my dreams for success and setting up your day before you go to bed and saying, take me to the higher planes in my dreams so I can work on this stuff while I'm sleeping, and then wake me up in a poised state where I can calmly face the day. Now, anything that comes at us is going to be easier to deal with. If we went to bed really stressed out and woke up and we're still thinking about that same negative thing that happened yesterday, we're way more likely to encounter more of that during
So
that
let me
day and
ask,
have less resources to handle it.
so let me ask before we move into this. Let's say that I have, whatever, 20 grudges and I don't clear them today. Does that mean that I can't have a calm or comfortable day tomorrow until I clear them?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
This is all very individual. And so you can also clear as much as you can handle. Like, help me clear today as much as I can handle, because sometimes we'll get the information in a, like if I'm doing a session with somebody, like it's going to take 5 days. Like when I was doing some of my clearing the other day, it was like 3 days, and in 3 days something did massively shift in the situation that I was dealing with. And so we can even use our clairvoyance and our intuition to understand how long is this clearing going to take? Because when we end the clearings, we always end it with, please continue this clearing until complete, in the background. Kind of, you think of like a computer, like clear this, keep clearing this until it's done, because you're talking about a network, a fiber optic network of light that's like the Akashic records. It's enormously huge stuff that goes on
And it
forever and
doesn't
ever.
just like I hit enter on the computer and boom, the whole
Yeah,
thing is solved. It's like certain things literally take that much time.
certain things are like it's done, and then that thing heals and you don't even have to deal with it on a physical level. Other things, it's, you got to think about how much intensity and duration and density have been condensed into that part of the nervous system or the
Okay.
body mind complex. Then it's going to take a little more doing. It's like, and you can feel it. You start to be able to sense, like, there's some deep density there, but there's quicker ways to do the clearings that are a little more what we might call advanced. And that's where, like, when you're really up against a big old karmic situation, that's where sometimes people go get help. They get support from somebody who can see with them what's going on. Because that's what happens with me, is like I can see in their body, mind, spirit complex, feel with them and back to the, well, are you feeling, what are you feeling? And then I will know that I'm feeling the same thing. And so I'm pretty sure I understand what they're feeling somatically, because by the nature of our oneness, that's part of what we can do, is we can connect with each other and have that compassionate co-feeling, if that
So
makes
like
sense.
just in life,
But that's
there
where
may be a whole array of things that I can clear on my own, but then I may very well come up against something that's just like, oh my gosh, all right, this is, deep. You say dense, I say deep doo doo, and I'm gonna have to get some help to be able to move through this one.
right. And we can, know that for ourselves. Like, well, yeah, I need support on this one. And it's okay. Like, part of what has happened in this earth plane experience of separation is, we've experienced shame or self-denigration or the diminishment of our confidence. And so sometimes you feel like, oh no, if I need help, that's bad, or if I'm not perfect already, that I don't want anyone to know, that's not awesome. How could I possibly tell someone my problems? But yeah, you don't want to go telling everyone. But if you find a person you resonate with that can help you clear it, then that could be a good thing, and pick the modality that you like. I mean, it is good to keep these things private, but to also, it's also good to get the help when you need it. Because look, we're dealing with thousands of years of really gnarly conditioning. Like if you start studying how history and what has happened in these lineages and these dynasties and empires over time, and how people have been treated and how women have been treated and the kinds of experiences people had, there's no wondering why we have these problems now. The,
Right.
the blessing is they show up as more mild than they were back when dynasties were raiding other dynasties. Now it's more like it shows up, as a tiff with your neighbor, so it's much more manageable, but it still might feel, it's like, why am I so irritated just because that guy, left his lawnmower in my yard or something, right?
Right.
It's like out of proportion, but you could say, thank you, I'm clearing some old thing that is bigger, that was way worse when it first happened, but now that was the opportunity for it to trigger so I could get it out of my nervous system so I can move on, basically.
Right. Okay.
Next level. Yeah. So shall we clear some grudges?
Yes, I'm like, please.
So I'm hearing three. I'm hearing the number three. So let's just say, like our guides are saying, I invite you to, in your heart, we're still in this love space with the creator. We can remind ourselves, creator of all creators, being of all beings, light of all lights, love of all loves. We're so grateful to be here today with this opportunity to clear the junk in the trunk and to clean up some of these major grudges that we've had for goodness knows how long. We're so grateful to be of support, not only to ourselves and our family by doing this, but also to our extended loved ones and friends, and even all of humanity. Because every time we pop a hole in some of this old energy, the whole collective of humanity, which is a larger body, you know, gets a little more healed. So thank you, God, for bringing us together today so we can be part of that clearing for everyone. You just breathe into that. And again, breathe out a little longer to get into that relaxed state. Just notice how you're feeling in your body. Like just take a breath and see if you can scan and just notice your head, your neck, your chest, your core body, your organs, and your torso, down your legs. Maybe see if you can feel your aura or your emotions. And just kind of notice what's going on in your body, mind, spirit complex. Just sort of take a glance, just sort of get used to the idea of scanning and feeling. We look, some people are better at seeing, some people are better at feeling, some people are better at knowing. Whatever there's nothing wrong with any of those ways. So what are you seeing, feeling, sensing, or knowing is what you want to begin to notice. And just notice that for now. And then we're going to ask the creator to please help each person who wants to do this clearing directly with you, within them, with their own high self, their own God self directly. Please help them to tune in with the high self, source, God, love, and clear and call up the three grudges that your high self wants you to work on clearing right now. And you may hear exactly what they are, or you may just get a sense of them, or you might get nothing. But just know that we've called it up. We've called up the top three grudges that need to be cleared right now. And we're asking to clear these grudges at the cellular level. We're asking that they be cleared at the core foundation in all levels, all layers, all hidden layers, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, socially, sexually, logistically, relationally, wherever these grudges originated in time and space, in our early childhood. If you want to go into ancestral lineage, in your ancestral lineage, you can ask, how many generations back do I need to go in my ancestral lineage? Well, let's just ask. And I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for this reading today, it looks like the people watching, we need to go back 8 generations. And that, it may be different for each individual, but generally speaking, we're calling on the clearing of the core of these grudges for 8 generations back. And 1, 2, 3 generations forward. And now we also want this to be cleared in any imprinting from any past lives, if you believe in that. And if you don't, that's fine. You just skip that part. But let's just say 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 past lives at play. Each individual might get a little different, but that's what I'm picking up in the field right now. So there's 3 past lives involved. Is there one grudge in each of these lives? Yes. So each of these lives represent a grudge. And so are these grudges related in some way? Yes. They're kind of like, what I'm seeing is they're like a tangled knot from 3 past lives that were also had similar patterns in those 8 generations back. Are you seeing, sensing, feeling, or knowing anything about those 3 grudges in your body, mind, spirit complex now? Are you getting any sensation or imagery or feelings about that?
Am I?
Yes.
I'm definitely feeling something.
Right.
It's a little more on the nondescript side.
Okay. And does it feel like warmth, cold, movement, color, expansion? Can you give any definition to it at all? Or just different?
I mean, feels calm.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
feel a larger sense of calm
Yes.
that God is. Yeah, so that's good. And we have not asked for the clearing to take place exactly yet. So but you're in the field of the healing, is what it
Right.
sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And so now ask if you get any information about any of those 3 grudges in particular, if you choose to name it in any way. Just see if you can ask for any information that's useful for yourself and others to share, if any. And if not, that's fine too.
No. No.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. And so again, sometimes we'll get real specific information. Sometimes we won't feel anything or know anything about it, but we know that there's this 3 old energies in our body that wants to clear. And so we'll just let that be. And now we're going to ask that be cleared now in all time, spaces, and dimensions, all concepts of time, all levels, all layers, in depth and permanently, and in all hidden layers. So if you think of a computer, sometimes you make a copy of a file, all duplicates, all copies, all everywhere that this energy is stuck. We want to be thorough here. Anywhere that this stuff is bunched up, we want to find it and start to let it loose in a perfect, orderly, wonderful, loving way that doesn't disrupt our life, but also gets us the freedom from the pattern. And so we ask that start to be done now for all 3 of those grudges at once. Let's just do them as a bundle. And so I can tell you what I'm seeing in your field. I'm seeing like I think it's yeah, like there's like a lines over top of a package of energy that wants to be cleared, and the lines over top of them look like they could be some kind of thought forms or it's like, some of this stuff is disturbing and not fun. We'd just really rather not deal with that backlog of old energy, right? Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah.
And so we might first have to ask if you resonate with that, or whoever I'm reading in the field right now, like did any attempts our personalities have made to suppress that energy so we didn't have to deal with it, whatever each of us is comfortable with, to let that begin to clear now so that we can get to the deeper core of things. So again, it's all free will. Nobody has to do this. It's all your choice. You don't have to do it just because I said it. Just do what you want. But if you want, like I can start feeling a little bit of peeling back of that fold now. Or what are you feeling, sensing, seeing, or knowing as we do this?
I mean, my body twitched and my hands were in front of me, sort of like this, and I had to separate them and separate them. So,
Yes, it just felt like energetically you needed to do that.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so that was a signal. That's an example of a signal. That's showing you some energy is shifting or moving in your system, and that's great. And so now, if you want to keep going, just take a deep breath and ask, like, I am feeling a trauma, basically, at the core of this. Is it okay that we're talking about this here on this show with that kind of trauma energy with you? Is that okay?
I like to think of myself as an open book, so I'm going to say yes, it's okay. I mean, there's a little hesitant. I didn't know that we were going to go there tonight, and I'm just like, whoa, okay. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's okay.
we don't have to, but we can. So, and anybody could be feeling like all of us have had trauma, so there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's like this has been a traumatic experience on the earth plane. Let's just face it. So if you get some freedom, maybe there's a lot of other people connected to that trauma that can be also freed right now, right? So that we're picking up on in the field because we're all connected. So it feels like it looks like a bunched up energy. And I'm just going to ask for that bunched up energy to begin to disentangle in a way that feels safe and wonderful and loving. And just, if you agree with that request and you want that too, just ask that in your own way inside yourself and see if you start feeling another signal as you breathe. And it's important
No,
to
I
keep
burped.
breathe.
I just
You
burped.
burped.
Yes,
Yeah, there you go. So that's a signal.
right.
I almost feel too. And so yeah, something's moving. And so now it's like a wound. Was this a wound in the past life? Ooh, yes. See, now I just got a signal. I don't know if you saw me, but I just went, okay, so I saw it. There's a past life where you were like got an arrow in you or something. And so if that happens, you're going to contract, like the body itself is going to contract around a harm like that. So that's a trauma. And then combined with what you might have been thinking at that time and who you were fighting with or who threw the arrow at you, now you've got a impact and a trauma and a contraction associated with a thought form. And did he die in that way? And then passed away with that energy, and therefore not resolving it before you left, more greatly carrying it forward into another experience in another incarnation. Make sense?
Yes.
So I'm sorry that that happened to you, that you got hit with an arrow in that other lifetime, and whoever, any other people who had those kinds of things, certainly that happened a lot on the earth plane in our experiences. So would you like to heal that wound right now out of your aura from that arrow in that lifetime? Would you like to clean that, your energy from that wound and release the contraction around that?
Yes.
Okay, so now just we've asked that. So now again, breathing into it and being very gentle with yourself, keeping your breath as much as you can, going all the way down to your tummy. See, now I'm getting a burp. Let me know if you got a signal or what you're feeling. Let me know what are you feeling in your body, mind, spirit complex right now.
Okay, so I had a pain that showed up right here that's now gone away.
That's where I saw it too. It's funny. Yeah. Ugh. So yeah, see now I'm getting signals. I'm like, energy is moving. And so sometimes my body will move also because it's like just helping this old energy move out of the system. Okay, and so now I'm feeling something in the gut. What do you, if you, I don't know if you're feeling that or not, but go scan your torso or your body, mind, spirit, complex again. Just tell me what you're sensing, seeing, feeling, and knowing now.
I mean, there's definitely energy in my gut at this point. I'm not
Right, and
sure
so it
how
feels
I would
like
describe it. It's what?
no, keep going.
I'm not sure how I would describe it. It's since I'm feeling it, it's less than comfortable. So it's something's moving, something's different. It was different than it was like a minute ago.
Right, right. Yeah, and so that's a package of energy. So we cleared the wound and you got the feeling that it cleared. And so now it shifted to the next part of this experience that's wanting to be cleared, which to me it looks like anger, it's like I that's not a happy thing to have happen, right? Like so there's something that like or just a scream, a primordial that you may or may not have even been able to get out of your system in that time frame that might have got stuck. And so that's just my interpretation. How does that relate to you? Do you resonate with that? Um,
Yes.
or yeah. So now we can ask, could you please clear, if you want, you can ask, please clear any associated rage, anger, confusion, like, cause yeah, confused, like when that stuff like that happens to you, usually it's like, what? It's shocking, right? Shock, um, yeah, and you could very well have a grudge, right?
Right.
Against that individual or the entire group of people or and wherever they came from versus who you were and who where you were raised and where they were raised and what was the conflict. Like, all three grudges could be in play right there in that one scenario. And so, would you like to have the grudge energy and the anger and resentment and any remaining hostility that even caused such a thing to happen in the first place? Would you like that to be cleared out of your body, mind, spirit complex now so that your nervous system can be free of that old grudge?
Yes.
And so, what are you feeling now? What are you seeing, sensing, feeling, or knowing in your body, mind, spirit complex?
I mean, it's like I'm back to whatever my baseline was before. I'm not feeling that discomfort in my gut. Um, I mean, it definitely feels better than it felt like 90 seconds ago.
Yeah, so something moved, something shifted. So that's another way you can know you got a signal. It's like there was a state change when we made
Right.
that command. Yeah. And so we're very grateful for that. And so now we can ask your guides and angels of the light, only those beings, only those beings, only those beings, high self in service to the one love, healing of humanity and your own highest good, to clean your body, mind, spirit complex of any remaining kind of shrapnel or when you start dissolving something, any mud that got shook up from the bottom or anything else that can be cleared and is up for clearing now. If you would like that, just say yes.
Yes.
But now you can visualize that any way you want. You can either just receive it or you can actually actively visualize like the violet flame coming in or something. It's like whatever you want to do. And repairing your wings, I'm hearing like repairing any impact on the spine and the body, mind, spirit, the wings, the arms, shoulders, the ribs. Um, I'm feeling it in my back right now. Like there's some energy opening and moving there. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got movement. Yeah, during that.
Right. And
And
so there's a signal. The cough even is like something's trying coming
yeah,
up. It's coming. Mhm. Okay, great. And so is that complete? Yeah. And so now if we're, going to wrap this up now, maybe there may be more layers to all this and you can spend as much time as you want going deeper and deeper. You know how earlier you first felt the arrow and then it jumped to your tummy. That can kind of sort of happen and continue to happen. Like, oh, then it'll go up here and then it'll go over there. But you follow the same process until it's just gone. But you got to that neutral place again. So we completed the cycle. So now the hygiene at the end of it is to ask, would you like to update the records to reflect this clearing?
Yes.
And would you like to upgrade your nervous system, your metabolism, all the systems of your body, mind, spirit complex, all your glands, chakras, organs, all of your energy bodies to that highest level of functioning now that that clearing has been done? It's kind of like, okay, I don't have to stay in the same stasis as I was before I had that clearing. Now I'm going to go up. Would you like both of those things, the update and the upgrade?
Yes.
Cool. And so now just again, ask. All we have to do is ask. Ask, you shall receive. That's the law of life. And so now just wait and see if you feel a confirmation of some kind that that's happening for you.
Yes. I got what I would consider to be a confirmation.
Okay, cool. And so now we've got that clearing. Now we can go into gratitude and thanksgiving. It's like creator of all creators, being of all beings, light of all lights, love of all loves. We are so grateful for this clearing today from this situation, which looked like a past life where there was a wound that caused a leaving of that incarnation between two groups of people, tribal or otherwise, two groups of people like a long time ago. I don't know when. We could look into it, but we don't need to. and so we're asking for this clearing for any souls who were involved in that hostility and that conflict, our ancestors and relatives in this life, our ancestors and relatives in that past life, or anything related that any individual listening has heard that was similar enough. Anybody who wants to ask for a full clearing for your own lineages and for all of your lifetimes around this, please create this as a little package that anybody could just say, give me that. I want that. I want that clearing. And let it be done. We, as goodwill creatures, creators, have goodwill towards our fellow man and womankind and our children, our progeny, our ancestors. We want that clearing for all of those guys. And we do have the right to call upon that and say, hey, if they're willing, if their souls are willing, bestow that upon them so they can be free, if and as it is according to the highest good of all and the divine will. And now we're doing our part to clean up the template for the collective consciousness. And let's get some of these grudges out of the way. Let's move on so that we can say, forgive them, Father, they know not what they did. Forgive me, Father, Mother, God. I don't know what I didn't know what I was doing when I got in that conflict. Please help us forgive each other, because forgiveness is grand and it's giving up the old for the new, giving up the old limited perspective that came from conditioning and reactivity, or a new perspective that recalls our oneness of being, where peace and equanimity are a natural birthright. And that this phenomenal experience we have here in this earth plane is continually changing. And any place we've been attached, where we got greedy or we got jealous or we got sad or we got dysfunctional, we got addicted, we got all these things that happened because these negative past experiences, please grace us with the benevolence and the beauty and the wisdom to let go of anything we can let go of today so we can be a little more free. And our lineages, our ancestors, our relatives, our children can be a little more free to make better choices and help us and guide us to think in a new way now, in that higher way. It's going to be easier to think the new higher thought now because we're not being pulled down into that samskaric rivulet as easily because we've cleaned it up a little bit. Make sense?
Yes.
Like, it's easier to, now it's a thought universe, it's a feeling-based creation universe. It's easier to think in this better way now. So we're giving thanks for that. We're so grateful. Oh my gosh, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. So it is. By whatever name you call God, just call God. Like, I don't care what you call God, just call God, for God's sakes. Just don't call God late for dinner, okay? Because God doesn't like that. Just
Wow.
kidding. There you
Wow.
go. Yes, and so let's now, the final step is, please, Creator, please seal this healing in the golden light of your pure divine love and continue it until complete in all time, space, dimension, all concepts of time, all levels, all layers, all hidden layers, and whatever is truly for the highest good of each individual who's called forth this clearing today. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. So be it. So it is. And now we might want to zip our energy field back up. So we come back, we went into kind of a oneness state, into more connecting with each other's body, mind, spirit complex. So you can just like zip yourself up and you can, do this, close the aura. You can pour cold water, run cold water and push energy out of your hands to break the connection. So, because, hey, we're all one, but we don't need to be running around in each other's individualized energy all day long. So that's also part of the energy hygiene. So
Okay.
we just did a complete session, and there's a lot more that could be said about every single part of it, but that sort of gives an idea of what a complete session with also reflecting on whether you feel like something moved or not could be like.
Now, do you have something written up, a PDF of some sort? I feel like that was so much stuff. I'm not sure, like, without you tomorrow, I could go through another one of these on my own. And by the way, that was super intense, and I had no idea that that's what we were going to do on this podcast. But
Like,
I'm everything in divine timing, and this was divine timing. But is there some sort of thing that you can? I mean, I
yes.
feel like I need something to follow to do this on my own.
Okay, so let me say a couple things about that. So, one, people can download a bunch of free stuff on my website. I've got guided meditations for raising the vibe, golden light meditation, and other things. I don't know if you want me to show that or just talk about it, but it's pretty easy to find if you just go to shirayadharma.com and then click on the login button or the get, I don't even know. Let me see. What does it say on there? So I was telling people correctly. Um, there's a
Because we'll
number
put the
of,
link in the description for this particular show, so they have that.
yeah, that's easy. And then if they go to my site, well, if you're going to put links, then I can, yeah, just look below, just go down, look below, and there'll be links for all the
Okay.
free stuff. And I also have an energy clearing course that teaches one aspect of this on the forgiveness level, but it does go into all of this stuff. And that's a paid course. If anybody can't afford it, you can make a donation towards it. I don't mind. But if you click the login sign up button on the top left, now you'll see all the stuff. And you'll see there's a bunch of free things. The free Golden Rose healing, prosperity, and high vibe meditations, and the free Your Manifesting checklist. So those are the things that are readily available, and I can go back and look. I think if I find anything else, I'll send it to you, and I'll get it up by the time this show is live up and running. How
Okay,
about that?
that's great. But it's nice to know that there are some resources there and some meditations and some things
Yeah.
and more information about other things that you offer beyond that. Um, wow. I,
Yes, absolutely. But I think, I mean, like you just said, a checklist for how to know you're getting a signal and doing that process. I now intend, because of this session, to get that up as soon as possible. So hopefully it'll be down there by the time you're listening to this recording.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much I mean, I'm just feel like I had my own private session in the what podcast or what show tonight. But thank you so much for doing this. This was more than I had planned on, and it feels good. And I will follow up with you on anything else after this. It's nice. One of the things with the It's All Good show is to give people an experience, to give them some tools to show what's available and what can be done and everything, and they can watch this several times to get that process down and to feel into their own um, experience of this, which I think is really important. And so, Thank you so much for bringing that to all of us.
Absolutely my pleasure. And it's skills that are natural to us that we're simply reawakening to. And we can and we ought to use them to help ourselves and others, especially at this time. It's a time of sharing and great gifts and revelation. And, we self reflect, self correct. That's the kind of universe it is. So let's, go for it. Pick up the mantle of our deep work and let's do it with great um, Thanksgiving, knowing that grace is with us.
I love that. Thank you so much. I value your presence in my life always, and this is another reason why. Thank you so much, and thank you to all of you. And we'll be back with another podcast next week. I'm glad you enjoyed this with us.